What's up, guys? Welcome back to Beauty for Ashes. It's your girl Toya and my husband DJ, and we're back with another video for y'all. As promised, we're back with episode 2 of a 3-part series, Make It Last Forever. Last week we talked about the honeymoon was over, and this week we talking about getting that old thing back. Hey, it's lit. Get it back. So, where do I even want to start? As y'all can see, I took some notes. I got my handy dandy notebook. I ain't got my wine because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, but my husband's a night owl, so this was the best time for us to do this video. So if I be lunching, y'all know why. Giving y'all the heads up now. But yeah, tonight, like I said last week, we talked about I'm tripping. Last week we talked about the honeymoon was over and just, common issues that people go through. Once you get out of that honeymoon phase, you just run into different issues and problems in marriages and relationships. And tonight we're going to talk about getting that old thing back, basically getting back on track. Like once you kind of experience some of the hurdles of being together for a while, like how do you get that back? How do you get that spot back in the marriage? How do you get things back on track when things are falling apart, feelings are starting to shift and change, different dynamics have entered the marriage or relationship that weren't there initially? What do you do? I'm glad you asked. That's why we're here, right, babe?
That's right.
All right, so one of the first things I want to talk about is just accepting each other. Just getting back to the place of just loving and accepting the person for who they are, for where they are, and not constantly trying to change a person, not constantly nagging a person to be this way, do this different. Just accept them for where they are, and then y'all try to work together as a team to get to where y'all want to be. Like, you can't change somebody. I'm sure you realize that by now. Hell, you can probably not even change yourself. It's hard enough to change yourself, and then you're trying to change somebody else. Let me give you a perfect example. So this guy right here, as you can see, he's on his iPad, he's doing this thing. And y'all might be wondering, like, if they're doing a video, why is he playing this game? Because that's DJ. That's what he does. Like, this man took his iPad to church one time. Now, granted, it wasn't a Sunday service where we all in the front. It's like the Wednesday Bible study. But, he in the back, and, like, I wanted him to go to church with me. I've been pressing him, like, yo, just come with me to church or whatever. And he wanted to bring his iPad. But I'm like, if that's the way that he gonna come to church, bring your iPad, So it's like he has the uncanny ability to multitask. Like, he is the type of person, he can be doing that, but he really be listening too. So, like, he, because after the service, we'll talk about it. I'm like, well, what did they say or what you get out of it? And he'll give me, like, a whole dialogue of what he got out of it. So I know he'd be listening. But, to the outsider looking in, that ain't cool. You in the house of the Lord and you on your tablet, your iPad or whatever. So, old lady, I mean, not old lady, old girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember she came to you?
Mm-hmm.
She was hot. Yeah, she was so hot that you was in that joint on your game. What'd she say?
I think she asked me to get off of it or something. I don't know.
Did you get off of it?
No.
Dang, he ain't even respect his elder. That's messed up. But I say all that to say is that used to be something that bothered me. If we were trying to spend time together or do something and he was on that, it used to kind of be an issue, But I got to a place where I had to accept that that's him, that's what he liked to do. And, like, what is it really hurting at the end of the day? If he's still present in terms of, like, we can still have a conversation, we can still talk and communicate, and he still hear me, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, my thing was him coming to church. So once he got in the door, then, everything else fell into place, and it worked out for us, Now, that's not for everybody, but I'm just saying it worked for us. And the point of that, again, is accept a person where they are. Let them be who they are. Like, we have this ideal person in our mind that we want our spouse to be or be like. You might have a friend or know some other married people, and it appears that their husband is this way or their wife is this way, but you do not know what go on behind closed doors of any relationship. Things that glitter are not always gold. I've experienced it firsthand where I've known people and I thought they had this glorious, beautiful life just to find out that their lives were in shambles, that I was actually better off than they were. So just accept your situation where you are, and like I said, accept your partner, your spouse, for who they are, and y'all just work together as a team, and y'all build together. And then you'll start to see the changes that you want to see, because that person, they may start to want to change and do things differently, because of their love for you, or their respect for the relationship or whatever. So that's my first one. Accept each other. Stop trying to change each other. All right. Secondly, and this one's a good one, this one stuck with me for years. You got to pick and choose your battle. Like, that's one of the truest things I ever heard. Like, everything is not a fight. Like, you can't fight over every single thing. Like, you have to decide what's really, really important. Like, somebody leaving the toilet seat up at night is mad annoying, I'm sure. Fortunately, I don't have to deal with that. But if you have to deal with it, like, it's mad annoying. I can understand that, especially if you fall up in that joint. That ain't no fun. But is it worth an argument? Is it worth strife and tension in the marriage? You know what I mean? And that might be more of a trivial thing, but even something like, them forgetting to run an errand, or, them not doing something that you think they should have done. Like, you have to just weigh it out. Like, how big is this issue? Is this really something that I have to say something about? Or is this something that I could just kind of sweep under the rug and keep it pushing? Like, did it really change the dynamic of our relationship in any way? Did it bring any negativity to our marriage in any way?
I agree. You definitely want to pick and choose. And, well, me and the wife were just having a conversation about this earlier. Just not nitpicking every little thing. Everybody gonna have their ish with them, So if you want it to last, and that's a big key to it, because you have to want it to, you have to choose to ignore some of the things that might irritate you, and focus on what you love about them and what you like about them. And it's easier to move past things when you look at it from that perspective. Now, you're gonna feel a certain way in certain moments, but those moments pass. My mother always used to tell me, your emotions, they pass. So you don't have to get all caught up like that's how you're gonna feel forever. You let those emotions do what they gotta do, and you move on.
Nah, your mom, she's speaking facts though, for real.
Yeah.
Because emotions are so fickle. Like, they change from day to day.
Yep.
The day you feeling lovey-dovey, tomorrow you irritated, the next day you angry, the next day you just want to hug and kiss everybody. It's
Right.
just like, emotions is just like, does it have you crazy?
And one of my biggest things with emotions, I tell my children this, they lie. They'll have you thinking something that can be a complete opposite of what is really going on, because that's how you feel in that moment. So you kind of always want to be thinking like, all right, it is what I'm feeling right now the bigger picture? Is this how it is, or this is just what it is in this moment?
Yeah, because feelings are fleeting.
Yeah.
They're here one moment, gone the next. So you can't really trust your feelings to lead. Like, somebody said this, and I'm sorry for not giving you the credit, whoever said this, but they was like, your feelings or emotions can be in the car, but don't let them drive.
Right.
And like, that's like some of the truest things truest words I've ever heard. Like, you can't let them dictate how you move. You really got to sit on things and think about them.
Yeah.
So
you're better off for it.
Right. So like I said, before you start an argument or broach a conversation about something, just think about it. Like, what is the impact of this conversation on our marriage? Like, if I bring this up, are we gonna have a good day the rest of the day? Is the night gonna be messed up? Are we gonna be mad at each other? You know what I mean? Like, just think about it. Like, the things that you should really bring up are the things that are like super important to you. And like, I mean, I'm not an expert. I mean, I think I am, but I feel that there are bigger fish to fry in relationships other than the trivial things that most couples go through just on a day-to-day basis. And like, a lot of people split up and break up over like silly stuff. Like, you'd be surprised at the stuff that came through my office when I was a marriage counselor at my church. Like people used to come in there with some like small stuff. Like I mean, to them it's big. You know, when you're going through something, it's big. But like at the end of the day, in the big picture, in the big scheme of things, it was like really small. You know, it's like how could I talk through that? You know.
Well, that's the key right there. It's the communication.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of things break down. And even like when people cheat and stuff like that, it's more of a communication thing because somebody's not getting what they want and they don't express that to try to fix it. So they just go try to fix it themselves. Now some people just want to cheat, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just lack of good communication.
Wow, it's funny you brought that up. I actually have that on my list. It was towards the bottom, but you know, in the thought process of getting that old thing back and getting your marriage on track, like if it's been infidelity, like you want to kind of dig and look at the reason for the infidelity. Now, I'm not talking about a repetitive thing like somebody that got caught cheating 4, 5, 6 different times, but you know, if it's been a hiccup in a relationship where somebody done stepped out or whatever, it's ways to fix that. It's ways to get that back on track. Like first you have to be honest with each other. You got to talk about why it happened, you know, and you really have the person who committed the offense has to be sensitive to how the other person feel, give them time to process and deal with the infidelity and that type of thing. But a lot of times what I come to realize just based off experiences and like I said, counseling sessions, sometimes people don't always cheat for sex. Like that's a common myth. Like they just want to have sex with somebody else. And that's not always the case. What I learned sometimes when people have an affair, it's like an escape. It's an escape from their marital issues, their children, you know, whatever they're going through at home. It's like a fantasy life. Like they get to leave all that and then they step into this fantasy world with this other person where they don't have none of the responsibilities or attachments that they have at home. So it's just kind of like their way of getting away from that. And sometimes people don't even mean to have an affair. They just want to vent. They just want to talk to somebody. They just confide in somebody. And just one thing lead to another. You know what I mean? So I just feel like if it's something that's happened in your marriage, like, you know, it is a hurtful thing. I've been through infidelity in marriage before. You know, this is my first marriage or whatever. And, you know, things happened or whatever, but you can work through it if you want to. That's the key. If you want to, because if you want the marriage to be over and that was your reason for it to be over, then you done. But if you still love the person, you still believe in the marriage and you want to reconcile and get back on track, you just got to communicate. You got to talk about it because you have to understand what caused my significant other to make that decision. And if you know you can talk with cooler heads when emotions are not so high, you'll probably get the answer. And you probably can avoid it happening again. Just communication, just talking it through. So, like I said, that was towards the bottom of my list, but husband brought it up, so you know what I'm saying? Dug right into it. Okay. One of the other things, now this is something, I thought I created this, but I end up Googling it because I didn't want to come on here like, yeah, I created this little word or this phrase or whatever, and it ain't mine. So somebody else had already coined the term, but I'm going to just tell you what it is and what my definition is because I thought I created it. But there's something called a good wife syndrome. And of course, my men that are listening could also be good husband syndrome. And what I thought that is like when you basically put the other person's needs and desires before your own. So you basically take a back seat in the marriage or relationship and you just kind of give to your partner because you want to be the good wife, you want to be the good mom, so you give so much of yourself but you're not really getting it in return. And a lot of us fall into that trap because you know I feel like it happens more to women because you know women outnumber men, and most women want to be in a relationship, most women want to be married, so we tend to go out our way to secure that, and then when we get it, we kind of bend over backwards to be this perfect good wife. So you know we doing things that we know that he loves, but the thing is it's hard to keep up with that. You know, after a while you kind of start burning out, and I addressed that a little bit in the first video. So you have to talk with your spouse, and you have to also make your needs known. You have to express, the things that you may be missing or the things that you may need in the marriage. So it's great to be a great wife or a great husband, but you can't neglect the things that you need as well, because eventually you'll start building resentment towards the other person because your needs are going unfulfilled. You're meeting all their needs, you're checking all their boxes, but you're not getting none of your stuff checked off. All right. So again, I didn't coin the word good wife syndrome, but I thought of it and I put it in my notes and I Googled it, and bada bing, bada boom. So, yeah. All right, the next thing, let's get to the fun stuff. Make fun a priority in your marriage. Like, a lot of times things get so serious, things get so tense, especially when you've been kind of going through it. You've been disagreeing a lot, bickering. You got stuff with the kids, got financial issues, communications off. Like, we got to get back to just having fun. Like, just remember when you was dating a person, the stuff y'all used to do. Y'all used to just go out, just have a good time. It ain't even had to be nothing serious. Y'all could just be driving to the grocery store, but y'all just enjoy being around each other, laughing and talking. But as things progress, things get so serious, and you develop responsibilities together. If y'all end up getting married or living together, and you lose sight of the fun. Like, so you got to be very intentional about having fun and keeping fun in a relationship and just lightening the mood. Like, you don't want to be walking around the house looking like a sourpuss all the time, and you don't want to see your significant other looking like a sourpuss. So be intentional about injecting fun back into the marriage. Think about some things that y'all used to do together. What I put down here? I put that adults need to be able to adult. Like, all our lives, well, all our lives from being a child, all we wanted to do was to grow up and to drive and to be an adult, make my own decisions, do my own thing. And like right now, you have the ability to do that. Like, people always make adulting seem like this bad thing because there's so many responsibilities, but find the fun in being an adult and being able to have that freedom to make decisions and do things together and enjoy each other. The fun aspect, this actually rolls into the next topic I was going to say, which is have regular date nights. Like, make that a priority in a marriage, especially if you have kids. Like, you have to find time for y'all, just each other. And now if you have financial issues or you have daycare issues, like, you can be creative. Like, we've had to do it before. Like, we've put the children to bed, and like, we actually came up here, had our wine glasses, had our little TV trays in the bed, and we had got some food from a restaurant or whatever, and we were just up here chilling, just watching a movie together. But the point was, we was intentional about it. Like, we made it a thing, because we couldn't leave the house for whatever reason. I don't know if it was COVID or what it was, but I know we couldn't leave the house, or we couldn't, be out on a day. I think it was COVID, right? Or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So anyhow.
Oh wait, we ain't had no babysitter.
Yeah, probably ain't have a sitter. That happens often.
Yeah.
So you have to work around those things. Like, one of the worst things you can do is let that part of the marriage go with you and him, or if you're a man, you and your wife, like, y'all don't spend that time together anymore, where it's like every day is just hustle and bustle and routine. Like, you got to break that, and at least, I would like once a week, but it may not be realistic for you. But at least like twice a month, just try to spend that undivided time with your significant other. And we like to do things like, we like to wine festivals.
Yeah, we love
hang and sip. Things like that. Like, I know it's a common thing. We like to, sip some every now and again. But, just get out the house if you can. Just do something that's just fun. Be creative. Like, go to places you've never been before. Like, I love doing new things with him. Things that neither one of us have done before. Just new experiences. Just add that spark back into the relationship. Like, and it's going to take some effort. It's going to take, you maybe looking up stuff or getting ideas from people or whatever. But just make sure that you're having regular date nights with your significant other, because it really can help with the marriage. It can help boost the marital morale, if you will. And it can just really give you that warm and fuzzy. A lot of times when you just going through so much strife, you lose that you know. All right. So regular date nights. Um, ooh, the next one is sex. So we talked about sex briefly last time, but I just wanted to do a little bit of a deeper dive. It's very, very easy for sex to become a chore and sex to become routine or sex to become non-existent, to be completely honest with you. All of those things are a possibility, but just like you should make the fun intentional and the date nights intentional, you should also be intentional about sex. Just making sure that both of y'all sex meters are full, your sex tanks are full. You have to communicate with your spouse and tell them what it is that you need, and you just have to set parameters around that where if you have children or whatever and you can't be spontaneous, you might have to just be creative. Sometimes, like, I don't know what y'all situation is or whatever, but even if you have a vehicle, like, you might have to just drive around to a little spot, and do some. I know this probably TMI, but one time, like, we was at Dave and Buster's having a good time on a date night, and we decided that was the spot we wanted to, do what we wanted to do, and we did what we wanted to do. But it was just fun and it was exciting and it just made us feel like youthful and just like, you know I don't know, it was just exciting. Like, it just was like a break from the routine or whatever. Like, you have to inject that spark back into your marriage however you can do it, and don't worry about what other people are doing or saying. You got to do what's right for your marriage. So it's between you and your significant other to decide what y'all want to do to get y'all groove back. You know what I'm saying? Get that groove back.
And like you said, you got to be intentional about it. You got to think about it. You have to plan it, just so it happens. Because a lot of times we'll talk about stuff and it may not happen because we didn't really plan it out how it would happen. And our biggest hurdle is daycare. If we had daycare, um, we get out a lot more because we enjoy being out and all that, but you know they don't always want to watch the kids, and it ain't their kids to do. I get it.
And we don't trust everybody to watch our kids,
Right,
so we're very, very selective in who looks after the kiddos. What I want to add next is that division is never good in a marriage, whether it's a separate bedroom, a separate bank account, a separate anything, where it's like, this is me, this is mine, and that's yours. Like, that's already you going down the wrong road. You have to have that unity between the two of y'all. You got to bring that back. You can't have any division and expect the marriage to succeed because you're looking at yourself as individuals. You're no longer looking at yourself as a team. And I know everybody's beliefs is different as far as like sharing bank accounts and stuff like that, and to each his own. But I mean, I know, like, for him and I, like, we have our joint accounts, but we also have our individual, pocket money where he can do what he want to do, I can do what I want to do, but we also just have an account together. So when we have to make big decisions, whether it's related to the home, travel, vehicles, or whatever, like, it's about both of us. We have to come together and make those decisions as a married couple instead of functioning as individuals. What you want to do is just assess your marriage, and you want to reconcile the areas in your marriage that are divided. Like I said, if you've been down a rough road and you've just been experiencing some marital distress, you have to get back on track. But you have to get back on track by just reuniting with one another. Okay, now. And then also, whatever you guys have been through in the past, you have to decide to forgive each other. This is a big one because a lot of times people stay together after something happens, but they don't really forgive the person. They bring it up every chance they get. They throwing it in each other's face, and you're never going to be able to heal and move forward if you don't let go of the offense. Like, it's hard, it's difficult, so take your time before getting to a place of saying that you forgive someone, because once you say you forgive them, that's like the the indicator that you're ready to move forward and start the healing process of the marriage. But if you say you forget them, but 2 days later you bring like, yeah, that's what you said to old girl, that's what you did, like that's not gonna work. So you really have to forgive the person if you're going to choose to be with the person, right?
So the forgiving, you do want to do that, but I understand we're human and it's hard. The biggest thing is you have to make a decision, like she was saying, that this is something you want to work. You want it. You want it. Because I've been in that position where I, I guess, said I forgave him, but I kept bringing it up. I was much younger then, but I understand that, so I don't want to act like we don't relate to that.
Facts.
But it's a point where you have to just make that decision. All right, I'm gonna forgive him, and I'm gonna move past it, because if you keep bringing it up, your relationship will never progress.
Right, because you keep reliving it. And that's why I was saying take that time on the front end to process what happened, go through whatever emotions you need to go through. And then once you get to a place where you feel like you dealt with that, whether it be through counseling or, you know, self-help, whatever it takes. But once you get yourself to a place that you're good, then you can work on the reconciliation of the marriage and forgiving and moving forward. But that's what it's going to take in order for you to get everything back on track. Then the last thing that I want to talk about, something that's kind of caused some division between us, is just what role each person play in a marriage. So him and I, we're very untraditional. We don't believe like, well, the man got to take the trash out and the woman got to cook every day. Like, it's for us, it's like whoever get to it first, that's who do it. If it's something I'm able and capable of doing, I don't mind doing it. And with him, it's like the same thing. Like, he can wash the clothes and fold the clothes. Like, it don't have to be gender specific or whatever. But I say that to say that you have to you want to decide which role each of you are going to play in different aspects of the marriage, like parenting, finances, housekeeping, that type of thing. So, him and I, we was having a little bit of strife with regards to parenting. So we had to like actually have a conversation, like, all right, which part of the parenting do you want to handle? What's the most important parts to you? And for him, the way that our children eat, and the discipline and that type of thing, that's important for him. So I'm like, all right, well, you should take the lead with that. Whereas with me, I'm more wanting to make sure they have their needs met, that I love on them, that they having some fun. So that's kind of the role I play. And so once we establish that, then we respect each other's space when we're dealing with the children in that way. And then, of course, it's not to say that I can never discipline them or he can never have fun with them, but primarily we've established which role we want to play with regards to parenting. And then we do the same with finances. Then we do the same with housekeeping, so you have to figure out what works for you in your marriage.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, I know I said a mouthful tonight. That was a lot of information. So hopefully y'all had a chance to write it down. I appreciate all the feedback I've been getting off of the first video. So y'all continue to provide us with that feedback. If y'all have questions, comments, let us know in the comments section. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to Beauty for Ashes. And we will be back next Friday with the third and final installment of Make It Last Forever. All right?